Hello everyone. In this video I am going to tell you about range for integer type supported by MySQL or MySQL. In MySQL you can enter different types of data, and to store different types of data you need different data types. So in this video I will be telling you about different ranges for integer types supported by MySQL. So if you are entering integer values, so you can either take tiny integer or small integer as a data type, or medium integer or big integer if the value is very big, if the value is very huge. But if the value is small, then it is better you take tiny integer or small integer or medium integer, because that will occupy less space. It will occupy less space in your system, so it will save your space. So let me first tell you the range for different integer types supported by MySQL or MySQL. So here you can see the chart. So if you are using tiny integer as a data type for storing integer value, and if it is unsigned tiny integer, the range for that is from 0 to 255. So you can enter values between 0 to 255. The values cannot be more than 255, it cannot be less than 0. But if it is signed for integer type, the range is from -128 to +127. Same goes for tiny integer, medium integer and integer. So if you have taken small integer and if it is signed, so you can take values between -32,768 to +32,767. And if it is unsigned, then, and if the data type is tiny integer, the values that you can enter will be you can enter values between 0 to 65,535. It cannot be more than this, it cannot be less than 0. Same goes for integer. For integer type you can either write int, or you can also give INTEGER. You can also write integer or int also. There won't be any error. So if it is unsigned, the range for integer is between 0 to, it's about 4,294,967,295. This is the range. And if it is signed, so it is from this range to this range. If it is even bigger, you can take big int. So if the value that you are entering is small, it is better you take the smaller types. That will save your space. So this was about the range for integer type supported by MySQL. MySQL stands for My Structure Query Language. Okay, now coming back to MySQL, let's first create a table and then I will show you with example how to assign integer type data. Now for creating a table, first we will create a database. You have to give the command create database, and you can give any database name. University, but this is the name of the database that I have created. So once you have created a database, you have to open it so that you can work on it. So the command to open a database will be use and then name of the database. Now whatever work you will do, it will be stored in the database called university. If you want to open another database, the same command you have to do use and name of the database, and then whatever work you will be doing, it will be saved in that particular database. Now since I have opened the database named university, I want to create table inside it. I will give the command create table, name of a table. Suppose you have given it uni1. You can continue also, or you can continue from the next line. no problem with it, unless you press semicolon. Semicolon, it is used to terminate the statement. That means now you have finished your work. So it is used to terminate the statement, but now I want to continue. So this is the procedure for creating a table. Create table, name of the table, and within parentheses, that is within small bracket, you will write the name of the field and the description about that particular field. Suppose here I have written EMP number, employee number, and suppose I have given over here varchar, where char, varchar. Now varchar, okay, let's make it EMP code. This is EMP code, and varchar. If you want to enter characters number in the form of character, then for that you can use varchar. In varchar you have to specify the size. This is 20, the size 5. Now this 5 over here, this means the size, maximum number of values that you can enter in this particular field is 5. You cannot enter values more than 5. So you can enter values less than 5. 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 5. Okay, 5. You can enter values less than 5. You cannot enter values more than 5. You can enter values till 5 values you can enter, but you cannot enter values more than 5. So this is the size over here, that is the length of the character size. Okay, I think it's clear. Okay, and then now let's create one more field. Suppose the next field that I have created is, I can continue here also, but suppose I want to continue in the next line. Let's say once you have written everything about a field, then you will put a semicolon, comma over here, then continue with the next field, salary. Now in salary, suppose I have written over here small integer, right? Okay, suppose let's make it small int. Suppose it's small int. Okay, let's make it integer only. Okay, let's make it integer, and the size I have given it 4. Now here this 4 doesn't mean size. In case of integer, when you are giving integer data type, like it could be tiny integer, small integer, medium integer, or big integer, the size or the number over here, this indicate the column width, column, column width, WID. This is the width of the column, not the size when it comes to integer type. So here integer 4 means the width of this column named salary is, minimum width is 4. This is the minimum width of this salary 4. It doesn't mean that you can enter only 4 characters. You can enter digits less than 4, you can enter digits more than 4. But if the digits you are entering less than 4, that is you are entering 2 digit or 1 digit, you can fill the, or you can pad it with zeros. That means you can fill the vacant space or the free space with zeros. I will show you that with an example also. So suppose this is the field that I have created, and let's terminate this table statement by using a semicolon. So I have used a semicolon to close it. Now the message 0 rows affected. Now I have created a table. Now let's, if you want to see the structure of the table, I will give the command describe and UNI 1. So this is the structure, size. This is the, in case of varchar, this 5 over here, it is the size. That means maximum 5 characters you can enter. You can't enter more than 5 characters. But when it comes to integer type, the size, this number over here, it indicates the display width. So the display width does not limit, or it does not constrain the range of values that can be stored in the column. nor does it prevent values wider than the column display width. I am talking about display width from being displayed correctly. Like suppose here, in this case over here, integer 4, it specifies an integer type with a width of 4 digit, but you can enter values more than 4. So let's first enter some records inside it. Insert into UNI1 and values that you want to insert values. If you're entering char, if the data type is char, varchar. If the data type is char, or it is varchar, or if it is date, then you have to use double quotes, or you can use single quotes to enter the value if the data type is char, varchar or date. In case of integer, you can directly enter the value, integer values, but in case of varchar, if it is varchar, char or date, you have to use single quotes or double quotes to enter the values. So since it is, I have written varchar over here, I will use double quotes. Suppose the code I have given to one employee is A01. So this is your alphanumeric characters, it is varchar. And now comes the salary part. Suppose I'm just entering a rough salary over here. Now just to show you an example, suppose now this is 200 or 299, suppose, right? So I have entered only 3 digits, so it will accept it. If I will enter 5 digits, then also it will accept it. Now suppose select start from, I want to display the records, so select start from UNI1, it will display all the records. Since I have entered 2 records, it will display 2 records. Now in case of EMP, this is the width, maximum 5 characters you can enter, not more than 5. But in case of integer, this 4 here is the width of the minimum width of this column, salary column. So minimum width is 4. If you are entering less than values less than 4, then also it will display. If you are entering values more than 4, then also it will display those values, but it should be within the range of int. Sure. So as I have already told you, the range for integer is, you can see the range over here, it's too much. So range for integer 0 to this much. If it is tiny integer, it will be from 0 to 255. Since I have taken integer, so your values should fall within the range. Suppose you have taken a small integer, it should be between 0 to 65,535. You cannot enter values more than this. This is the range for this. So size is nothing to do with the range. Size, it only specifies the width of the column. So here I have specified the size 4 over here. This size 4 here indicates the display width. So the display width, it does not limit the range of values that can be stored in the column. Now as I have already told you that if you are entering values which are less than the display width here is 4. So the values I am entering only 3. So you want that the remaining blank space should be filled with 0, or you want that it should pair with zeros. For that you can use a special keyword which is known as 0 fill in front of this integer along with this integer data type. So I will tell you how to do that also. So you will see that automatically 0 will come over here. So let's update it. So if you want to do some modification in the structure of your database object, we will use alter key. Alter is your DDL statement, data definition language. Alter, along with whenever we use any DDL command, whenever we use any data definition language command, along with the table name, we also have to use the keyword table. So alter table, and the name of the table is your UNI1. So this MySQL is not a case sensitive programming language, so either you can write in small letter or you can write in capital letter, it doesn't matter. You can write one in small, one in another in capital also. UNI1. Okay. alter table UNI 1, and then I want to modify it, MODIFI. What I want to modify? I want to modify salary field, modify salary, and data type is integer. I want to make it 10. So here also you can change the data type, you can change the size also. Earlier it was 4, the width of the column was 4, I have made it 10. Here this again I am telling you, this 10, it specifies the column width, not the size. In case of integer data type, this, the value over here, this specifies the width of the column, minimum width. In case of varchar, or if it is decimal or float or double, now this size over here, the number over here, it specifies the size. Where is the eraser? Okay. In case of varchar or char or double or decimal, this specifies the size. But in case of integer, whether it is tiny integer, small integer, medium integer, int or integer and big integer, this, the number that you specify over here, this specifies the column width of the column, not the size, not the maximum size that you can enter. This is the width of the column. Okay. So suppose I want to change the width also, so I have changed the width to 10. Earlier it was 4. So alter table, name of the table, modify salary, and suppose I want to fill the blank space with zeros, so you will use ZERO fill. So when you use zero fill, if the width of the field is 10 and you are entering only 5 characters or only 3 characters, so what it will do, it will pad the remaining blank spaces with 0. It will fill the remaining spaces with zeros. So let's see. So you can see over here I have given the command alter table, name of the table, modify salary integer 10, 0 fill. Now integer 10 over here, this is the column width of the field salary. Earlier it was 4, the width of the column was 4, now it's 10. So I have changed the width of the column. So with the help of alter command, this is your DDL command, you can also change the width, you can change the data type, but you can use other constant also, like I have used zero fill features over here. Now this zero fill over here, what does this zero fill does? Suppose the size is 10 and I have entered only 3 characters. Only 3 characters. So zero fill feature, it will pad or it will fill the remaining blank spaces with zeros. It will fill the remaining blank space with zeros. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, one more 0, and now there you can see now number of characters are 10. So this is the width of the column. So the display width, it does not limit the range of values that can be stored in the columns, or it does not constrain the values that you can store in the column, but the values should fall within the range of the data type that you have specified. If it is char, if it is tiny integer, so you can enter values only between 0 to 255. If it is integer and if it is signed, then you can store values between around its 214 minus 214 million to plus 214 million, and if it is unsigned, between 0 to 4,294,000,000. So the range I have already told you before also. Let me show you the range again. So this is the range of the values that you can enter. This is nothing to do with the column width. Column width, you can keep it small, you can keep it big also. But if the data type you have taken is tiny integer and if it is unsigned, so you can only enter values between 0 to 255, not less than 0 and not more than this. So next, let's see the example. I have made it zero fill and I have also changed the size. So let me first show you the structure. You can also write DESC or DESC RIB if you want to see the structure. UNI1. So this is the structure. It is unsigned. Okay, by default it is unsigned. Unsigned means you can enter the value between 0 to between the range specified in the chart for integer if unsigned. If it is a small integer and if it is unsigned, then the range is between 0 to 65,535. So this is the range. The value should be within that range. Now let's see the records that we have entered. Select star from name of the table UNI1. So you can see over here it has filled the remaining blank space with zeros because I have used zero fill over here. If it has filled the remaining blank spaces with zeros. If you will not use zero fill, there won't be any error. It will skip the zero. Zero won't be displayed, just the values will be displayed over here. Since I have written over here the width is 10, and if the values that I am entering is only 3 or if it is 5, so it will pad 5 zeros in front of it, so that now all the width of the column or the width of the field salary is now occupied. So let's insert one more value. Insert into UNI1 values. Now let's try a value which is more than 5 in case of EMP code. Like suppose I have entered over here, the code is ABCD. Now this is for ABCDE, and I have entered 1 to 6 characters over here, and salary I have entered 85,000. There won't be any problem with the 8,50,000. Now, so you can see it is displaying the message data too long for column employee code, because here this 5 over here it specifies the size or the maximum length that of the characters that you can enter, but the value that I am entering here is more than 5, it is 6. Therefore it is displaying this message, you cannot enter the values because the data is too long. So what we can do, we can retype it again, and now we will reduce the size. Now it's 5, 3, 4, 5. Now it will accept it. Now let's see it. Select start from. So you can see over here it has taken the value, it has accepted the value because the size was within the given limit. And here also I've entered 8,50,000, so it is entered. So you can see 8,50,000 over here, but since the width was 10 and I have written over here 0 fill, so remaining space, the blank space, it is filled with zeros. So let's create one more table. Create table UNI2, and then here I'll just enter a only one field I will be entering, and here I will make it the data type I will be giving it will be small int, and this is the width. Okay, so the width is 4 suppose, and then if you don't want, you can't, not necessary to give the width also. Just for example I am giving the width. You can skip the width if you don't want, you can just leave it blank, but I am giving width also. And then I am making it signed, SIGNED. That means I can use negative number also. So if it is signed for small integer, the range is between minus 32,768 to plus 32,767. Okay, let's create now. So if you want to see the structure, DSC UNI2, so here goes the structure, small int. Now let's insert a value which is within the range. Insert into name of the field UNI, name of the table UNI2, and values. Suppose I am entering a value which is within the limit 32,767. This is within the limit, so it will accept it. But if you will enter any value which is more than this number, the maximum number that you can enter in is this 32,767. But if you are entering a value which is more than this, it will display the message out of range. Same goes for the minimum value. If the minimum value is minus 32,768, if you are entering this value, it will accept it. If you will enter 0, then also it will accept it. But if you will enter a value which is more than the given number, then it will not accept it, out of range. So I hope this is clear to you. So the display width is nothing to do with the values that you are entering. Okay, this is nothing to do with the values that you are entering. The display width, it does not limit the range of the values that can be stored in the column. So you can enter any values. It can be more than the display width, it can be less than the display width, but it should be within the range limit of the type, that data type that you have specified. So in case of small int, the data type in case of a small int, the range was signed was between 32,768 to plus 32,767. If I was entering a value which was more than this 32,768, it was giving an error message. So I hope this is clear to you. So let's display the output also. The record, select star from UNI 2. So you will get the output over here. So thank you for watching this. I hope this is clear to you.